our teaching, and in both ways should be done in a most professional manner. So we have to also teach our students on how to give feedback to each other, but also how to give feedback to us. Yeah. Now 13 people have shared their answers. So 13 people have answered what is most important for you when designing an online course: to make it engaging, to manage time properly. As we see also today in the workshop, the time is really flying, and we have used a lot of time already. Simply to use, exactly. That's also a very good point. Different activities. Now 14 people have answered. Thank you so much. 15 people have answered. Great. Encouragement, structure, dynamism, students' activity, availability, experience, reality. That's also good. Yeah. Full of images and tables. I think so too. Yeah. I have to confess, I'm really weak in that. I'm personally not so good in designing images and tables, but absolutely, I think if you show more pictures, because something that I think is also really important. Maybe I write something else. Well, I'm not sure if I can write something else, but what I would like to add here is maybe emotions. I think when you teach, emotions are very important. Also, of course, when we teach, it's a professional activity, but we are all human beings, teachers and also students. We are human beings, and we cannot completely neglect, and I think we should not neglect, that all our teaching, it is linked to emotions. And if we can, I think most of us, we are enthusiastic about our subjects, and we are enthusiastic about teaching because this is our profession. We chose to become teachers. So it's important to us, and most of us, and hopefully many and most of us, will have a huge passion for teaching. So it will come with a lot of positive enthusiasm, but then the long time, the months of online teaching have been very exhausting. So it's a mixture now of different emotions. We still probably like to do what we do, but then we are very tired. And as also some of you said before, we are almost now in a burnout. So it's a mixture of emotions. And when teaching, we want to be professional, and we don't want to be too emotional. On the other hand, I think ideally, I think the teacher who teaches well would also get the students to become a little bit emotional about the subject. Because if you make your students to be more emotional, then most likely what they learn will stick more with them. Yeah. So it's not about being and showing too many emotions, probably yourself, but making your students become emotional. And this is what you can really do with images. I like the posting here, yeah, that somebody wrote full of images and tables. I like that because if you show pictures, everything that makes students not only learn on the rational level, not only learn with their brains, but also learn with their heart in a way. I think this is important, but it's certainly more difficult to do when you teach online because there is more of a distance. Yeah. Okay. Thank you very much. I'm glad that you shared on the Mentimeter. Are there any comments? Does somebody want um, to say something on this Mentimeter? Otherwise, I would move on to the next topic. The next, at the beginning, I am coming back to the structure. Yeah, the structure was first part, problems in online teaching and some solutions. The second part now is on how did you develop as a teacher, as a professor? In which way did your personal skills in teaching develop? How was your personal development, your professional development? And here I would like to come back to my slides And I would like to show you this slide now here. Namely, um, each of us is an expert in his or her field. Some of you work in engineering or in natural science or in business or in languages or in law or in communication. You are an expert in your field. And secondly, as a university professor, as a teacher, as a lecturer at university, you also need to be, and you are, an expert as an instructor, as a teacher. And so throughout our professional lives, we develop and we grow. And here on this chart, this is also what I took from literature. This is from a paper on effective online teaching. And the authors, they used these three categories. They say, if you want to be an effective online teacher, your teaching competence, your teaching skills should come in three areas. One area is presence. You have to be present for your students. And we're going to look into this slide now, what it means actually to be present for the students. The second pillar, the second area where you have developed your skills, your competencies is on facilitation, is on tools. You know tools and you can apply tools to facilitate, to lead and to guide students. And the third pillar would be to support the students. As you will see, of course, these three areas, they are closely linked. And I would first like to discuss each of these areas with you. And then we'll have again a discussion in this workshop. So what does it mean to be present for the students? It means, first of all, that you need to communicate a lot with your students. And in an online scenario, that's even more important. You would mostly communicate in writing. And here, what I discovered also is it's better to write short messages, but more frequently. Yeah? So this is another suggestion. We realize, I think maybe you realize that as well. If you receive a document from your university management, and if it's very long, now I have to tell you, our university management now in the COVID-19 times, they often send us very long documents, 20 pages on instructions, but nobody would read it, yeah, because it's too long. And obviously it's the same with our students. It's much better to send short messages, but send them more frequently. And again, as I tried to say earlier, send them pictures, send them tables, send them design the information so that the students can more easily understand and absorb them. Yeah? It's necessary to be present not only once a week ideally, but try to be present more often. Modeling online behaviors would be, how to deal with students who behave inappropriately. Here, maybe we can also link to the discussion that we had earlier when some of you said, and I remember Eka's very good statement about exams, how to conduct online exams. I mean, here, I can also share with you briefly about ethical behavior in general. In Austria, I have to say, in our society in Austria, I would say we are not used to cheating is kind of an offense that we don't take so seriously very often. Austrians like to cheat on the tax office. Yeah, we try to avoid paying too many taxes. So it's kind of a behavior that is more or less accepted in the society. And also people would hire craftsmen to do work in the house. Also outside of the tax office, we would hire them on the weekend. We would not do this officially to save money. But this is all dishonest, of course. Yeah. So the Austrian society is not very clean on that. And it's the same with our students. So cheating is, it's happening a lot. But it's really different in other countries. I can tell you two stories. I had one student who was doing an exchange semester in Belgium, and I had one student doing an exchange semester in the United States. And both students were caught cheating at exams. This was not now, not under the COVID-19 situation, but that was some years ago. So they were doing cheating in an exam in the classroom, and it led to big problems. I had to apologize for my students, and the students had to apologize, and they were almost thrown out of the university. So it's really, it's difficult, yeah. But in a way, I try to discuss it with my students that they should be honest. But again, if it's a problem of the society, it's not easy. Then we need to do more monitoring. Yeah. Then we need to have the students switch on their cameras. Then we have to design exams in a way that we put a lot of time pressure on them so that they cannot easily cheat. Yeah. Also, modeling online behaviors would mean that students are expected to actively participate. And we should say that every time. Every time when we enter the virtual classroom, we would, at the beginning, maybe it can also happen with a game. Yeah, this links to the next topic. Cordial learning environment means that you can play some games with them. The Mentimeter that I used just before, you can also use it to design quizzes. And the same is for Kahoot. So Mentimeter and Kahoot, these are both tools that are really easy to use. Even I can do it, I would say. Also, I'm really not good in technology. Um, and you can use it to design short quizzes, and then this can also lead to more interaction with the students. To manage also the expectations, of course, I would also tell my students, you know, I have many things on my agenda. I will not be available every day. It's impossible. I'm also a human being. I'm not superwoman. I'm normal. And so I cannot be with you every day, but I will have a lecture time, and I will have 1 hour or 2 hours of students counseling. Yeah. And then I would also call in some students if I feel that they are moving away from the course. And I would try to listen to the students. So this is the presence. The presence is quite important. And again, I would like to stress the point, it's better to be present more often, but only for a short sequence. Yeah? Maybe writing a short one line saying, hello, this is what I found in the media, for example. This was a recent media report on a topic that is linked to the course. Try to make it exciting if you can. Try to link the course content to something that is up to date in our daily lives as well, so that they understand why what they learn in the university is applicable to their life, to their situation. Now, facilitation is more like the tools. Facilitating interaction would be by writing messages, by also giving points for activities, because students would be more likely to do something if they earn some credits, if they earn some points. Yeah. Promoting interactivity, encouraging cooperation is clear. It may also mean that you may have to resolve a conflict. In my own experience now with online learning, the problem is that often we do not realize that there is a conflict. It's much more difficult to observe and to see and to have a sense of what is going on behind the screen. But because we're all sitting in front of the screen, and it's not so easy to discover that, then the only way is to have, well, counseling sessions in that sense. Yeah. And the last point here in the pillar of facilitation would be the topic of implementing instructional strategies, which could be fostering peer interaction, as I said earlier, that students give feedback to each other, and also telling students how to do good presentations, so that they would also use images, that they would also use pictures, that we try to encourage them to be creative. Yeah? And then ideally having more fun. Maybe students could also do a short video at home with their mobile phones and then post the videos. And that all could be some facilitation to have a more effective learning experience online. And then supporting students on their learning journey would be also to check how they are standing. Time management is a crucial point because studies have also shown that in online scenarios, we need more time. We need more time to prepare for the lectures. We need more time to provide feedback because writing feedback is also often more time consuming than giving feedback orally. And also that we may have to limit or reduce the content that we teach. But here, of course, we are under pressure because our lecture is one stone or one part of a whole in the whole study program. And so I understand also for an individual teacher, it's not so easy to reduce the content because maybe your colleague would then build on the content that you have provided. Yeah. And then it's also necessary to find the balance on how much do you really teach in the classroom. You have to make a decision. Some parts you teach in the classroom and other parts the students would have to do in self-study at home. And then you have to tell the students very specifically what they need to do in self-study, and to also the next time when you have the next lecture unit, that you, for example, give assignments to students and they have to present it in the online lecture. So and you do a random selection. Yeah, you give, for example, 5 assignments, and if you have 30 students in the group, or 60 or 90, then you select the student randomly, and so each student has to be prepared. And if they are not able to present the assignment, then they would lose some points, or they would even get some minus points. We need to use these incentives because otherwise students would not comply with that. Yeah. And the last point here in the column or in the area of supporting students would be responsiveness. I think that's also very essential. I know, again, it's a big burden on us, again, for the sake of investing time. But in what I do, and since I have many roles as a department chair and institute chair and teacher, I would, at least if I get an email from students, write back a very short notice and saying, I did receive your message. I noted it, but I cannot respond in detail now. I will get back to you in 1 week, so that at least the student has the feeling and realizes that his message or her message was noticed. Yeah, so that he got or she got some attention of the lecturer. Yeah, so these are actually competencies that we need in order to conduct our online courses. Now, I'm coming to the next slide, namely, I have 3 questions for you, and I would like to discuss them with you. Again, I think we stay in the plenary. I think it went well last time. It would be too difficult to split up in different rooms. Namely, the first question would be, if you reflect on your personal competencies, your qualifications, your skills, which of these skills do you personally consider to be crucial for your online teaching? And it may be different for
Can you show us these questions?
Do you see the questions?
No, I could not see.
You don't see my slide?
No.
What about the others?
We see.
You see the slide?
I can see.
Now it's seen. Now it's seen.
You see it. Okay. So the first question would be, what are the skills that are crucial for your online teaching? The second question is, And maybe the second question is even more interesting, I hope so. Which competences have you gained in the last year? Yeah? Like if you compare, what were the competencies before the PRINTeL project and before the COVID-19 crisis? And where are your competencies now? And which additional competencies have you gained personally? Ideally through the PRINTeL project, but then also through coping with the pandemic. And the third question would be, which competencies would you like to gain in the near future? Like, because I think we should all be, well, reflective that nobody is perfect, but we are all on our way to become better teachers step by step. We want to grow, we want to extend our qualifications. And now, if we maybe we can put questions number 1 and 2 together. Which competencies are crucial and which have you gained? And I would again ask you that you either raise your hands and say something that would be perfect, or you can also use the chat if you like. Yeah, you can write comments into the chat, or you simply switch on your microphones and share with the group what you think. If you compare your skills now and 2 or 3 years ago, in which way have you developed new skills in teaching? Who would like to start? Who would like to break the ice? You know, that's always difficult, yeah? Yes, please. Elaine?
Maybe, can I start? So,
of course, please do.
Which skills and competences are crucial for me? I think it's more creativity, for me, inquiry, and I must be always up to date. So I will change my courses each semester. So, and usually I did it usually, so it helps me that I am not conservative in teaching. So I always want to find something new types of assessments, new type of activity. And what I gained during this period, trainings and then online teaching, it's how to communicate with my students online effectively. So communication it wasn't a problem for me in classroom, but I have some challenges during pandemic period and online teachings. So I think I solved them effectively, and communication with my students, effective communication, feedback, time management, they needed crucially timely help, timely feedback, timely resources, and also another one that I'm now trying to use not only text resources, not only books, but also audios, videos, games in some cases, simulation, but and also in the third one, what competences would you like to gain? Maybe more in programming, how and software. I want to study software, how to create, for example, some simulations or some games by myself. So I miss some components